Good evening, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Global Columbus. My name is Abdikhayr Soofe with City of Columbus Community Relations Commission, and I'm your host for tonight's show. In the next 30 minutes or so, we'll be talking about the Somali youth in City of Columbus and Central Ohio. Let me introduce you to my guests. With me tonight is Isa Bashir Ali, who is the president of Somali Unified Youth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, Global Columbus, for having me as well.
And also, Simona Noor, who is the president of Somali Students Association at the Ohio State University. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Come. Last but not the least is Muhammad, who is an activist and a students activist, works and volunteers for American Refugee Committee, I Am a Star project, and works with students and extensively raises awareness on Somali famine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Abdi.
And we're glad to have you as well, our audiences. This is a live show. You can call us at 614-645-6557. Questions and comments are welcome. Before we get started, let me ask each one of you to briefly tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what brought you to the City of Columbus?
My name is Isa Ali, and I came from Syracuse, New York. And I came here for two things: to get close to my family and to pursue a higher education. So I'm a student at DeVry University, studying computer network system. And I'm a community activist, a youth activist, and involved in an organization, Somali Unified Youth, which I'm the president. And the reason why I came here is because to get close to my family and my people, as well as pursuing my higher education.
Higher education. Simona.
Yeah, I'm Simona. I'm a third year at OSU. I study international studies and African studies. We moved to Columbus, 3 years ago from Fargo, North Dakota. I grew up there because we have, like he said, to get closer to family members. There's a large Somali community here, and we wanted something different, like a good experience, and OSU is here. So college life, yeah.
Okay. Muhammad.
Muhammad. I've been here the last 13 years. I went to school here, recent graduate of Ohio State University. Currently, I intern with Columbus Crew and Crew Foundation as a community relations representative, trying to link up Crew Foundation with the community.
Good. Now you're all youngs, youth. Who's youth? How old do I have to be to qualify to be a youth? What's the age limitations? You want to say a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, as far as I know of it, according to the UN, a definition of youth, it's from the age of, I believe, 18 to 30.
To 30. You agree, Muhammad?
Definitely.
Great. How many members do you have with your organization, Somali Unified Youth?
13 members.
13? What about you, Simona?
Well, as I say, it varies. We have students who are really committed and students who are not as committed, but we have, for membership, around 30 students.
What do the young people need to succeed? What do they want? What's the need of youth?
I think the youth, they need everything. They need mentorship, they need programs, because we have a lot of time after school programs, because once you go to school, when you come back from school, you have the whole time there, and what you do there determines your future, like your next few years from there. So you need programs like mentorship programs, youth programs, or after-school programs, or involve yourself in different organizations like Simona and Isa. That's what young people need.
How can parents, what kind of environment should we create from your own youth perspective for the youth to be able to succeed and to get what the things that you described?
Parents, they need to encourage their kids. Like, they need to be on top of their studies, like talk to them. You need dialogue between parents and kids. Once you create a dialogue between parents and kids, right there, it saves everything. It saves a lot of time and problems. But when you have dialogue between parents and the youth, and you have to know, the parents have to know what their kids are up to at all times.
Yeah, I agree. The parents should care. They should show that they care about what their children are doing, and then the children should bring in their parents and let them know, like, this is what I'm doing. And if there's language barriers, they should help with the translation, or they should get someone else to help them out. Just showing that the support, it really helps.
Yeah, I also agree with them as well. And just like Mohammed mentioned, they need programs such as like mentorship and other programs to develop them in society, as well as leadership development programs as well. So they really need that to be leaders for tomorrow and a better future for our community. And also the parents, they need to invest in their kids. I mean, if they don't invest in their kids, then someone else will invest in their kids. They'll either will fall into somebody else's hands, and they'll be told something that they're not supposed to be told, and they be leading to a wrong direction. So that's not good for their children.
Is there a gap between generational gap between the youth and older folks? Is there a parental involvement that's missing, especially for the immigrants? I heard so many stories where a parental education is missing. How do we make? So I consider myself a youth, but the older folks, how do they make a connection to resolve that gap? Asa, you want to take it?
Yeah. Well, according to my perspective, I think young people should be treated as young people, and as the elders are concerned, sometimes the mentality and the way a young person or a youth thinks doesn't go with how other person thinks. So I'd say that to be more understanding, to be to put like the elders to put their self into the youth shoes, and to listen to what they're going through, and to be like a supportive type of individual, and to let them know that they're here for them and they're willing to help them. And that's what the youth need. They need someone to put them in their own shoes, and to care for them, and to listen to them, and to understand them.
Absolutely. More than ever before, a youth voice and leadership is needed, and there is a lot of things of that missing nowadays. What do you think that what kind of voice can be an effective tool to inspire more youth, such as you, who take a leadership role to engage the community, especially the youth?
There's a lot you can do. Like, for example, me, I've worked with different organizations here in Columbus, and I look up to the older generation, like the older community leaders. I look at them as role models. I look at them as mentors. And in terms of that, like, for example, the last few months, I've worked with a lot of middle school kids and high school kids, and I want to duplicate that to them. When you serve as a role model, big brother to them, that helps a lot.
Now, our culture, African immigrant culture, normally elders, we all talk about elders. Elders do that, elders do this. All leadership roles are assumed by older people. Now, with this youth leadership, is the African immigrant community, or particularly the Somali community, receptive, or is there a challenge from the elderly folks?
I mean, it can be some challenges in terms of there's a language barrier between the youth and the old generation, but once the old generation see what these youngsters are doing in terms of serving the community, they can, with open arms, accept that work, because you need to work together as a community, because community is not one person or two people, it's the whole group.
Yeah, when there's communication and there's respect, it brings people together. So I think if there was more of that, the elders will be willing to work with the youth, and the youth would have more interest of what the elders want to do, and they would be, if there's a cause, people are inspired to actually get involved and to work hard. It doesn't matter how old you are. If there's a cause, they will do it.
Yeah, we also need to avoid all strategy fits all, and the thing is, if we all, like Simona and Mohammed said, if we all work together as one and doing things as one, we can achieve a lot of things beyond our imagination.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And doing things as well. Let me ask you now, going back to things that you do, and I will start with Simona, with your project, engaging Students Association at The Ohio State University. Tell us a little bit about your activities and the work that you do.
SSA is for students, Somali students on campus. There's different organizations that are in the community, like Somali Youth Committee, United Committee, and then you have different people who are involved. We try to reach out to them to get involved with the community. But for SSA, we try to let the Somali students know that there's an organization on campus for them. And it's surprising because we get a lot of non-Somalis who are interested too, because it's also a resource, SSA, for non-Somalis to know about Somalia and Somalis. But yeah, when we want to actually collaborate with other people, it's surprising because there's so many organizations out there. It's just not on campus. So that's a good venue for us too.
So how can the students benefit from your organizations? What are the things that you do exactly for the community?
We have our meetings just to let them know, like we bring like well-known Somali speakers to talk about Somalia's history, politics, culture, and language, things people are interested in. We try to have community service, like little things, go to school or do programs like summer programs, or you do like a lot of planning for it, but that shows that you want to get involved with community service. We did, with the Chris OSU, we did blankets for them.
Blanket.
We made blankets, we got together, Chris OSU and SSA.
And I think we have an image of that blanket, yeah.
Yeah, we got together to do blankets for the recent refugees in Columbus. It's for winter. This winter hasn't been that cold, but I'm sure they'll still benefit from it. And it brings people together, because you're actually making the blankets, and you get to know different people that way. So a little community service, a little bit leadership, all those things, yeah.
You also told me that you sponsored a project for Run for Life.
Yeah.
Tell me that a little bit about that project.
The beginning of this year, during the fall, we did Project Run for Life because of the Somali drought and famine. It's been the worst humanitarian crisis. So we did Project Run for Life, which was a race on campus. We had like over 200 people, just students, on a Sunday morning on campus. And we sent the money, all of it. We actually had a 10,000 goal.
Wow.
We not only achieved that much, but we had more than that. We had around $12,000. Okay. A lot of people from campus and from the community helped out. And we sent the money to Helping Hand. They're on the ground in the Horn of Africa. So.
And yet you're not the only one who did that. Muhammad, you were engaged in some raising awareness and fundraising activities for American Refugee Committee. Tell us a little bit about that.
I went to a presentation by American Refugee Committee in September, hosted in partnership with Somali Documentary Project, and I saw what they're trying to do in terms of raising awareness, because when the famine hit Somalia, it's not about raising money. You have to educate the people what's happening there, the culture and everything. So they came up with a campaign, it's called I'm a Star campaign, which was enacted in Minnesota in September. Basically, it brings communities together where you can have ideas of how to raise money. You don't have to be from the Somali community to raise money for Somalia.
And I think we have a couple of images for I Am a Star project. How that was founded in Minnesota, or was it in Columbus?
Oh, in Minnesota.
Minnesota, okay. But it's worldwide now.
Now it's worldwide. We have students in Maine, in Qatar, in Rwanda, in San Diego.
So how can the people participate? I'm a Star project.
Let's go to imastar.org. They have all the tools you can download in terms of how you can fundraise. For example, there's a student in Columbus International High School. She wanted to do fundraise for Somalia. So we connected her with the I'm a Star campaign, where they did a bake sale week for Somalia in Columbus International High School. The entire week, the students there raised money for Somalia. So that's one example. There's students in Dennis University, they held a concert for Somalia, where they raised a lot of money for Somalia. So it's all about that. It's about raising awareness, using social media networks.
Right. And you, all three of you, were collaborated. All those projects, Project Run for Life, and I'm a Star work together. Now, Issa, Somali Unified Youth, what are the current projects and priorities that you, I know you told me that you engage high school students mainly to inspire them to go to college.
Yeah, that is correct. The projects we do have high school students, and we motivate them, also inspire them to proceed their education and also to go for a higher education. And the projects that we have for this year, actually we have two events within the year of 2012. One event is on May 15th. It's called the Somali Youth Day.
Somali Youth Day?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's the purpose of the event is to acknowledge the Somali youth and to give them opportunities, job opportunities and educational opportunities, whether it be scholarship or applying for a job, getting help with a resume. So the event is for if there's an individual or a high school student or a college student that needs help with resumes and stuff. There will be some companies that's providing jobs there, and then they will be able to help them out in their resumes and get apply for a job and get a job.
Get a job. Simona, in terms of gender equality, in terms of wealth, jobs, and things related to that case, it's always associated with men doing better and getting jobs, but not anymore. Nowadays, we have the girls doing and achieving results, superior results to be exact. What happened? What changed? So how the school and the students that you work with, do you see more girls doing a better job than boys?
Well, I think there's still gender inequalities, no matter what for now. But when it comes to Somali community, I did notice there's a lot more Somali girls who are involved with major events and even minor ones. But they're out there. You can hear their voices. You actually can meet them. You know who they are, what they do. So I think in that aspect, there's definitely more girls that are involved. And even just not so for Somalia, just in general, like African organizations, there's a lot of leaders who are females. So I appreciate that because it's inspiring for females out there to know like you can have that leadership role and you can go far from that.
How do you inspire positive results, positive change? Again, and I know I asked a similar question before, but how do you exactly, in terms of recruiting mentors, disseminating information, how do you go by that?
You just have to, like, your friends, just tell them what you're doing. Things like when you volunteer, tell them, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and just be a role model by action. When people see that, they'll follow suit. Simple as that.
Yeah, when you see people doing something good, that's something that's not only benefiting them, but also their community and their families and friends. They'll be interested in it as long as you are patient and you inspire them. And the results aren't always instant. They'll take time, but you will get there eventually.
Now there is a challenge. Speaking of youth, we have lots of young offenders, people dropping out high school. As far as youth is concerned, what are you doing within your respective organizations to address those issues?
Like, for example, right now, I'll be working with a Columbus Crew and Crew Foundation where they have two programs where they want to link up with the community. One is soccer field development, where they're going to develop in its park soccer fields. Well, they'll have soccer programs and soccer clinics. And the second one is Cakes for Kids, where youth can be part of Columbus Crew home games where they can go as a group. When you involve yourself in programs like that, when you have a lot of time, that's when problems start sometimes. That's why you have to do things positively. When you have ample time, you can do things, you can go the wrong path. Somebody might influence you the wrong way, but if you involve yourself in programs like that.
Your own youth, let me put it this way. Someone who have been through all the challenges in Africa, refugee camps, and came all the way here, what makes someone with that experience and history drop out of school and choose wrong path, a criminal enterprise and activities?
They probably think for those people it might be a language barrier. They probably didn't get one-on-one attention at school, so their grades dropped. So they become heartbroken, and they think that school is not for them. But I'll tell them that they stay in school and seek extra help.
Probably because they have strong support system, whether it's their teachers or their family or their friends. You need to be around people who will help you, who will benefit you for the long run, you know. And I think if they're not busy with something that's good, whether it's an after-school sport activity or for a debate or something, if you're not being occupied with something like that, it's easy for you to get distracted and get involved with things that are fun for now but will not be fun later on, you know.
And also not to be afraid to ask questions, you know. Like, you only will get help when you ask the things that you're having difficulties with. If you keep it to yourself, then you're not doing yourself any good or any improvements. So you should never be hesitated to ask any questions that you're struggling with so you can get the necessary help that you need.
But again, the question is, those who have been into a criminal justice system, a juvenile detention, what have you, how do you resolve their problem? How do you bring them into that level of understanding?
I mean, if they're drug offenders or they have a drug addiction or something like that, then they have to seek special treatment, you know. After that, and then the community has to have programs where these kids in need, these youth in need, who have been doing things negatively. So when you have programs, community programs, or when you have community centers, and these people, they need a role model. They need a big brother for them.
Yeah, and also youth violence, gang, or youth falling to drug usage and stuff like that, it falls into unsupportive, being not supported from the community or from their family. So therefore, the youth, the individuals themselves have to take responsibility for their success, and also society has to do its share as well.
Okay, but speaking of supported family, if the father or the mother says, well, I have provided everything that they could possibly need, a shelter, food, health care, what could they possibly provide? What else could they possibly provide that's missing? What support? You send your kid to school and end up being part of gangs and commission crime. What do you say about that?
Well, to that, I would say that parents need to be well aware of like the schools that they're sending their kids to. If it's a good environment where the student will learn and not be there's not a lot of like drug gang violence or youth violence involved in the school, and at the same time to put them through programs such as drug gang prevention or drug prevention, stuff like that, and also to link into someone they trust, like a friend of his that they'd be able to trust. Like, for example, a young person would listen to his friend more than his father or mother, because they have that connection of understanding one another, having that mutual understanding and respect. If his friend is a good person and he does good things for the community and as well as for himself, then their son and daughter, they will be as that person which he possessed that good character.
And Muhammad, you want to add?
I want to tell the parents, don't give up on your kids. Whenever they do something bad, don't give up on your kid. Because if we give up on the kid right now, then what's going to happen 10 years, 20 years from now? Because the society is going to give up on that child. So it's your responsibility to seek help and just show the kid that I'm here for you. The youth, they need assurance, whether you're graduating from high school, middle school, they need assurance that the parent is there for you, no matter what.
Now, with someone who procrastinates, someone who let me say, you're doing good, you're going to school, graduated, or in college, third year, and not only that, but giving back to the community, working, forming organization, though you're still full-time student. How, if someone wants to do that, trace that footsteps, what would be your advice? How do you do it? How do you be a full-time student, have a job, and also volunteer for the community?
I'll tell them, you can do that, it's easy. For me, for example, I'm more successful if I maximize all my time. Whether I go to school full-time and have an internship somewhere where I work, and same time volunteer. Because at the end of the day, when you volunteer at a nursing home or something like that, you feel empowered, and that motivates you to do more the next day or something like that. So I tell them, just join the extracurricular activities, join a student organization. It's nice. Once you maximize your time, you can be successful.
Simona?
Yeah, I agree. And you have to be balanced. You have to have a balanced life. And you need to be happy about the things you're doing. I think if you have those things, it's hard, but if you can achieve a balance in your life, you can get far, and you should be happy with what you're doing, like I said. Patience also. You need to be really patient with everything, because you put a lot of effort into something and it doesn't come through, or it's not as good as you thought it was. But that doesn't mean you should give up. There's a lot of opportunities. You just need to be more involved and have a time for yourself and have a time for all the things you do. That's what I would say.
I totally agree with both of them, and they're absolutely correct. And in life, time is the most valuable thing that you are given. And you have to use your time wisely. If you don't use your time wisely, then there isn't going to be any success that you will gain in life. And also, like when it comes to like coming with ideas and wanting to do something in your life, it's not always about just thinking. It's making those ideas into action. You have to put your ideas and your thoughts into action, and that's when you change yourselves, and that's when you better yourself. And also, like, you will come out with a lot of obstacles. Like, don't expect like things will go 100% successful. You'll come into dead ends. You come into like struggles and stuff. But always keep in mind that you should never give up on things. You should always, like Simona said, always fight, never give up, and and keep on fighting until you get it. What you want.
Indeed. Keeping in mind what considering the things that we discussed, youth issues, problems, young offenders, what would you say with your own youth perspective are the urgent steps that needed to be taken to address and resolve those issues?
For example, in our community, we need to identify the problem, where the problem starts. And if it's a gang violence or drug problem, then we need to address that. We need to raise awareness. Especially, you got to start young, talk to middle school kids about what's happening in their communities, and that right there, raising awareness.
Somali families should be aware of what's going on. People, like experts, should come and talk to them. And even if the offender or whatever, the youth who was involved in the violence, if they could speak to other youth, like, I've changed, or this wasn't good for me, and if they're like willing to speak about it, they should talk to the other youth and tell them, like, that's not the kind of direction you want to go.
I see.
Yeah, I would go with what Simona said. They need to outreach to the individuals that's willing to help them and talk to them about their concern and their problems. And there's a lot of like youth organization out there that are willing to help those youngsters to better their life and to better themselves.
Indeed. And that is the end of our first segment. Thank you, as always, Mohammed. This is the second time you have been here, and both of you have been first time. Thank you so much. Please remember to join us as we retrace the footsteps and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. The 2012 historical tour on April 10th through 14th. Also, you can find that information on our website at crc.columbus.gov. Also, make sure to friend with us and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Columbus Community Relations Commission. That's all our show for the first segment. Another segment on Ethiopian Tawahedo Social Services will come up next. Don't go away. We will right back.